What's up, everybody? Welcome to Practical Alchemy, the show where I teach you a hands-on approach to 3D modeling. On today's episode is part 3 of our Keyblade series. We are going to be continuing now with the hilt, and so this is again a Rhino tutorial. Hope you guys have been following along so far, and let's go ahead and get started. So, where we last left this file at, we had just finished up the blade, and so now we need to work on the hilt. So let's change our perspective view back to shaded. Now this looks like it might be a pretty complicated shape, but it's actually pretty easy. It's actually only going to incorporate 3 big steps. So the first thing that I want you to do is go ahead and delete this support bosses layer. We don't need that. It's extra. We don't need it. All right, new layer. Let's call this the hilt. The hilt revolve. There it is. Alright, so now on the revolve hilt layer, what I'm going to do is let's zoom in to the left viewport. Alright, select everything really quick and just change your display color to by layer. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be copying over some of this stuff that we had originally drawn, but since it came from Illustrator, sometimes it doesn't want to change colors nicely, so we just want to make sure that we can do that. Okay, the hilt revolve layer we're going to make bright green, my favorite working color. And let's just go ahead and take all of these big pieces. Okay, and we'll take the center line as well. And we're going to say transform, copy, in place. And then right click over on the layer that you want and change object layer. Okay, now next up, I just want you to strike a line about where that line is. Hold down the shift key. Ooh, it's in the yellow layer. Alright, I need to change my active layer by double clicking on it. Such a noob. Alright, so there we go. Now, here's what I would like you to do. Let's take these 2 circles and shift them up a little bit. Now, essentially what we're going to be doing is we've got this hilt shape that needs to go around our PVC pipe to give us support. This is a slight change from the actual Keyblade design. The actual Keyblade design, the handle part of the hilt is smaller than the blade itself, but since we, for structural reasons, can't do that, we are going to make it a little bit fatter. But essentially all these things are circles around our hilt, right, or around our blade. So we're going to try to create all of that surface in one single revolve. So, to do that, what we're going to do, go ahead and turn your initial sketch layer off. We don't need it anymore. Okay. And what I would like for you to do is we're just going to break up some of this stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and split. Let's split a couple things. Edit, split, and let's take these things and let's split them using this line. All right. We're going to split this using the center line. So we just have this line. Ooh, gosh. Explode that. That's stupid. Why did I do that? Alright. Delete that line. Delete this. Don't need this. Essentially what we're going to do is we're just creating the outer edges of this bevel. Okay, so we can take this line, oops, sorry, edit, split, and split it right here. Okay. Alright. Then, this little guy, we don't need any of that information. We're going to split this here. Okay, now for this one, what I want to do is I want to split him by the end point here. I want to make sure that my end line is tangent. So go ahead and split that again, but we're going to select by point. And it looks like we've got some end points right there. Good. Split that with this. Don't need it. Don't need any of that. Nope, we do need... No, we don't need that. We don't need that. All right, so let's just do a little cleanup here, and we're going to split this using this, and split this using this. Okay, so now what you can see, let's turn the PVC pipe off for a second, and we're going to draw one straight line from the end point here down through the center line, and then we'll just snip it back to the center line. Okay, now what you can see is we've got one line, which we're going to now join together, join, and that is defining all of the outside edges of this hilt. Okay, so what we're going to do from here, this is really cool, we're going to revolve this guy now. So we're going to go to our solids command, revolve around the endpoint, and we're going to now just drag out to define the axes around which we're going to revolve. So essentially what we're doing is, if you think about this beer bottle here, we've drawn the side profile, and now what we're going to do is we're going to spin that around really fast. So that it forms what looks to be a solid. It's kind of like spinning a quarter on its end, okay? And we're just going to hit, it's prompting us for the angle, it's a 360, so you just hit enter again, and boom, look at that, 360 degrees, and we've got a hilt here. Starting to look a little bit like a lightsaber, actually. So let's go ahead and create a new layer, and we're going to call this the hilt surfaces. All right. Change that to dark blue, because, you know, it's not easy being green. So change that object layer. Okay, cool. So we've got a hilt. Next component that we need to work on is now these little hand guards, I guess. I can't remember what the term is. I haven't fenced in a while. Turn on the hand guards. So let's go ahead and grab these curves. Transform, copy. We're going to say in place, and then change those to the green working layer. Basically, the reason that I'm doing that is because I don't want to delete these curves, and I don't want to mess with them. I always want to have them there in case I need them. Okay, now, ooh, forgot a step. That's okay. All right, let's do this real quick, then we'll go back. Okay, so what you're going to do is select these two curves and push F10 to turn these on. We want to make sure, right now they terminate at the edges of this curve, but we want to make sure that they intersect nicely so that we can, in the end, split those back or join those back to make one curve. So all we're going to do, if you remember this from the last lesson, we are going to click the endpoint, and we want to just extend it by the line. So to do that, we need to turn our near snap on. So it snaps to our line, hit tab to constrain it to that line, and just drag that guy out. Whoops. And he can almost go to the center line. We don't need him to go all the way to the center line, but just take him a little bit to the center line. Okay. There we go. Keep it going. Number 3. And 10. Turn the control points on. Tab. Ooh, that one's not going to be able to go as far. That's okay. And now turn F10 to turn them back off. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we need to split this up. All right. So we've got one continuous curve. Edit, split. Use these two as my cutting object. Delete that. All right. Click and drag. Edit, join. Now we've got one curve. We're going to go ahead and file, save this real quick, just in case this little puppy dies. Okay, now, next thing to do is mirror this about the center line. We don't want to waste time building both of these, so we're just going to mirror it around the center line. Transform, mirror. Use any point on the center line, and there we go. Okay, now just go in, and we're just going to create some small jumpers between these two. All right, very good so far. Everybody following? Hope so. All right, grab all those. I don't know why I'm selecting them individually. All right, edit, join those. Now you've got two closed poly surfaces, and now it's just as simple as extruding those outward to create the depth of that handguard. So we can go ahead and make that the same depth as our key here, or our blade. Just for a little bit of nice symmetry, and a little cartoon symmetry. So go ahead and say solid, nope, surface, extrude curve, straight. We want to say both sides because we built this on the base plane, and our tube is centered along our base plane. I've got a near snap on, which is fine. It's just snapping to a point on the Keyblade, so that's going to give me that same depth there. Ooh, but what did I forget? I forgot to turn... Oh, I should have used the solid command. What am I thinking? solid planar curve. There it is. Okay, cool. So we've got this blade shape here. Okay, now change that to the hilt layer. So what did I forget? What did we forget? We forgot one part of this. See how there's some grooves cut into the Keyblade here? We forgot to add those into our initial revolve. We could have, we didn't, we forgot. So what we're going to do to remedy that situation is just turn your initial sketch layer back on, okay? And I'm just going to create a rectangle. And I'm just going to make it about, I didn't ever measure the depth that I wanted for this, but we can just kind of eyeball it, just find something you like. Sorry, I'm zoomed in too far. I'm making mistakes. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, we're just gonna, sorry. All right, so just grab these and just make some rectangles. Okay, turn that initial sketch layer back on. Now we have two of these and we want to make sure they're square, so, or even or symmetrical. So transform, mirror this about, turn this snap off, turn the midpoint snap on. That way you can snap to the middle of that line and you can have two on either side of that line. Okay, there's one, and there's two. All right. Crap. All right, that's a fail. Oh my gosh. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. The 3D mouse failed, which is bad. That I totally blame 3D Connections. 3D Connections, if you're listening, this is your fault. You upgraded your software, and it's terrible. It's garbage. It's never worked. It's never worked. All right, so we've got these. As you can see, I've actually made these a little bit smaller than the ones on the back. All right, now what we're gonna do, same as we did with the other things, we're just gonna revolve those. Surface, revolve, around the endpoint, boo boo. All right, and there we go. See, now we've got these channels here. So, next step, save, is we are going to subtract these cutouts from this shape. So to do that, we're gonna use the solid difference tool, select our main hilt first, and the green surfaces second. And there we go. We got some really nice cuts into the hilt. It looks great. Okay, next up, let's just union this guy to this guy. All right, so we're gonna say solid, union. All right, looks like we are good. Let's just check that. Analysis, edge tools, show edges, zero naked edges. On our way to a file that is in fact 3D printable. Perfect. Okay, now missing a couple more features here. So let's just put those in real quick. Save this one more time. Turn on our sketch layer, turn off our curves layer. Okay, we just gotta do these cutouts here. So I'm gonna grab that circle and drag it out and just say solid, extrude planar curve straight. We're in this front view plane here, and we're just gonna select an arbitrary depth for that. Not too deep, you know, just right about there should be fine. All right, now go ahead and we just gotta do some mirroring of that. So we gotta mirror it on both sides, so transform, mirror, we're working in the front plane here, snap around, and now grab both of those, left plane, snap to mirror top and bottom. All right, and now just turn this guy back on. All right, and same as before, we're gonna use the difference tool to get rid of these. So solid, union, nope, solid, difference, select this first, then select your second set of surfaces, which is these guys. All right, and there it is. Got some nice cuts in there. You can choose to bevel these things if you want. I really haven't. I haven't found a great picture of the source art up until this point. So if you guys want to bevel any of these curves or fillet them, go for it. Honestly, I'm probably going to leave them like they are. Not because we're lazy. but because this is a very cartoony thing. So this, in my opinion, the surfaces and the curves should be very simple. It's based off of something that's, from PlayStation 1 era, no, PlayStation 2 era, and so it's going to be fairly simple, and it wants to be a little cartoony, so having those big, chunky, blocky edges is going to help with that look. Okay, what's next? We're not out of the woods yet. Okay, next thing that we need to do is we've got this surface. Let's go ahead and save this. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is we actually need to cut out the inside so that we can actually slot the PVC pipe down in there. Now, to do that, what we're going to do is we need to offset from our original PVC pipe. So this is actually the curve from my original PVC pipe. So let's just make a new layer. We're going to call this PVC cutout. Okay. Now remember, we want, depending on how tight you want the tolerances, how tight you want the two objects to fit together, you're going to change the offset. We want this to just slide in there. I don't want to have to try to force it in. I don't want to have to hit it with a hammer. So to do that, it's going to be a 0.5 millimeter offset. If I was working in something that I did want to slide or interfere, then I would use something like a 0.4 or a 0.3. Let me just make sure. That we are in millimeters. Okay, we are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just make this my primary layer and say curve, offset curve. And I'm going to offset it by 0.5 millimeters. Okay, now let's make a solid out of that. So just say solid, extrude planar curve, straight. I'm going to just pull it out to about midway through the hilt, should be fine. And now what am I going to do? I'm just going to do a difference command. So just do a difference. So solid, difference. This is 1, this is 2. And look at that. Now we've got a Keyblade that will fit our PVC pipe with a little bit of play to it, right? That looks right. Let me just make sure there. Okay, you see we've got actually a little bit of a, you can barely see how far it's offset, right? It's not really changing the design at all, but it is going to allow you to fit these pieces together when you 3D print this hilt. Okay, very good. File, save, couple more things. Now, if I did want to 3D print this, which I will, and make a Keyblade out of it, which I do, I don't want this thing sliding around, right? So probably the best thing to do for that is to put some set screws into the side. Those will screw in through the side of your Keyblade and then basically lodge themselves into your PVC pipe. I wouldn't recommend doing it through the handle here. That's going to get a little bit messy. So what I'm going to have you guys do, let's go ahead and turn these surfaces off for a second, just so we can turn those off for a second, just so we can think for here. Okay, and turn this off. Okay, what I'm going to do is try to center these on the two widest points. That's going to give me the most grab. So I'm just going to drag a line. Snap, I'm going to back to my hilt revolve layer. No, we can do the hilt cutout layer, that's fine. All right, turn my midpoint snaps back on and snap from the middle of that curve down through the center line, okay? Same thing here, down through the center line. Okay, now I'm just going to make a circle on, turn the midpoint snap off, the intersection point on, the intersection here. And that can be really anything. Let's go with 10 millimeters because that's going to make it nice and blocky and chunky. Same thing back here. Again, you want to decide this based off of what screw size you use. So if you're using a smaller screw, you're going to want to use a smaller hole. Measure your hole based off of the inside diameter of your screw bore, not the outside diameter or your thread diameter, right? Okay, so all we got to do here is say solid, extrude planar curve, straight, both sides, just swing those guys way out there, make them nice and big. All right, turn this back on. All right, and now we're just going to say file, save, just one more time just to make sure. And now we just need to do a difference command one more time, and hopefully that'll work through here. It might get a little tricky. Since I didn't go all the way. I'll tell you what, we're gonna actually see how I didn't go all the way through the Keyblade here. So I'm like hiding from the camera because I'm trying to focus and I lean into the command. Let's slide this guy forward just so we don't hit that. If you want to slide it back or make this deeper to compensate, that's totally fine. All right, let's try it. Solid, difference, select this, and what we should get, assuming this thing doesn't fail, yes, is 2 nice holes in our Keyblade. You can slide a nut and a bolt through that. You can just use a set screw, which has no face, use an Allen key to slide it in, just so you hide it a little bit better. But that's going to look great. That's going to be awesome. All right, let's double check this. Well, we're not done yet. We got to add one more thing. We've got to add a little hook on the end for our Mickey Mouse keychain. Okay, so let's just, we'll make a circle. Turn these guys off one more time. I'm just going to do it right through here. And go about, and we'll make it comically big. Okay, and turn that back on. And now we just need to sweep a circle along that curve. You could also use a revolve command, but so we're just going to say curve, circle, around curve. Select anywhere on this curve, but the endpoint is going to give you something that's in the top plane. And we're just going to select a nice cross section for that. Okay, surface, sweep one rail. This is our rail. This is our cross section. It sweeps around. Okay. And that actually looks comically big, too comically big for my taste. So we're just going to say scale, 3D, around let's go around the center point. And that's better. I didn't go back and open up the Mickey keychain to tell you where it should be, but, oh gosh. Well, now we're off the center. Yeah, good enough. That's close enough. It's close enough. It's close enough. No, it's not close enough. That's a terrible thing to do. Transform. Move from the center point to the end point. There it is. Is that no? That made it worse. Oh. Okay. I'm grabbing here. Sorry. All right. Let's just slide that back. It's good enough. Damn it. All right. So let's just put that there, and then we're just gonna do one more solid union. Solid union. Combine this with this, and ooh, it's ugly colored, but that's okay. All right. And just like that, we are done, guys. Well, let's make sure. Add object. No naked edges. Yes! We did it. All right. That is a closed poly surface. That guy is ready for 3D printing. Now, if you are going to throw it on your 3D printer, what I would recommend doing, honestly, is probably taking this off. Probably taking it off and standing it up on this end. You could always just drill a hole in it or something to attach your chain. But yeah, that's what I would do. All right, cool. So let's turn our PVC pipe back on. Let's get the glamour shot going. Let's turn this poly surface on. Turn this layer to something silvery. Turn this layer to something gold. All right, and there we go. Look at that. That is a Keyblade if I have ever seen one. So that's it. We are going to do one more episode down the line just to show you guys if you want to do a couple of extra things to this to finish it off. Maybe capping this PVC pipe, maybe adding a button in case you want to add a light and, you know, kind of like Sora like does this, shoots. If you want to do that, I can show you how to do that and modify your part a little bit. But for now, we're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned something. If you did, please like this video. If you want to see more from this series and from all the other things that we're going to do in the future, subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions about this video, or if you have any comments that you'd like to share, or any things you'd like to see in future episodes, please write them in the comments section below. As always, the support files for this project are located in the description. You can download those, and hopefully you'll follow along, learn how to do this CAD and 3D print this thing for yourself. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love the Keyblade design, and we will see you next time. Later on.